So welcome participants, probably the last day officially of the 50 hours training. After this training, we will be going for test. This MCQ is just a test check, how much we grasp, how much the faculty would have been able to impart. And if something goes here and there is no issue. The marks are only just with you. This is just for IBBI compliance that all RVO should conduct a test mandatory for all the participants. Coming for Transfer of Property Act, you all should have done this in either your any of the law, either your foundation or in BCom. Act is very simple and very basic fundamental question comes in the act. Before we go through all, let us understand few concepts. Just a second. I think my again screen went off. Something went wrong. Just a second.
मुझे स्क्रीन ना ग्रुप पे भी डाल दीजिए एक बार ना.
हाँ मैं शेयर मैं आपको ईमेल ही करना चाह रहा हूँ बट इन द मीन टाइम मेरा स्क्रीन इशू हो रहा है. जस्ट विजय जी आपके पास पुराना वाला सेशन का है ट्रांसफर ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी एक्ट उसमें से डाल दीजिए.
आपके में था?
हाँ मेरे में था पुराना वाला सेशन में. एक अदर अलाइड्स करके पीपीटी होगा आपके पास पुराना. मीन टाइम अगर आप पार्टिसिपेंट को शेयर करते हैं ना अदर अलाइड्स वाला, तो लेट मी आल्सो. तो यहाँ पे कनेक्ट हो रहा है डिस्कनेक्ट हो रहा है बार बार. कंट्रोल दैट.
फाइनेंस वाला जुडिशियल प्रोनाउंसमेंट है, एक एमसीक्यूज है, ये तो नहीं होगा ना?
नहीं वो सब नहीं. ठीक है आई थिंक ये आ गया अभी. आई होप एक आप देखिएगा ट्रांसफर ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी एक्ट या अदर अलाइड्स का एक लॉ होगा, नहीं तो मैं आपको लंच के बाद एक बार दोनों पीपीटीज वापस भेजता हूँ. ठीक है. नाउ क्विकली आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन and these are all whatever we'll be doing are all exam questions which have come. So based on your understanding whatever we know, what should be the answer of this?
Voidable. Voidable.
Other participants can also give your answer. We got one answer now.
Voidable.
Second answer is voidable.
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 Okay.
So voidable.
So all are going with C, assumingly.
Yes.
Okay. So all are wrong. Now can anybody tell me why all are wrong and why answer is B? I know I have not taught this concept at all, but still we're trying to understand why the law says, and it is not that I am saying it, it is the law has written itself in the code, in the act, that this condition would be void ab initio, because it is ab initio, void ab initio. It is impossible condition. Voidable is at the option of others. So is it possible at the option of A or B? Even if Usain Bolt also comes, Usain Bolt also cannot run this much in 1 hour, 100 miles in an hour. So though it may look that there is nothing illegality in it, we can consider it as a voidable, but the law itself made clear that these conditions are void ab initio. With your limited understanding of this slide is just give me a minute. I'm trying to. Vijay, I'll just email you this slide quickly because again it is not moving here.
मिला तो है ट्रांसफर ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी
नहीं
पीपीटी
मूव होता है फिर एग्जिट होता है. Did you got that PPT, that one?
हाँ एक पीपीटी मिली तो है. वो आपकी वाली ही होनी चाहिए, और तो फिर 10 जुलाई वाले बैच में
अदर अलाइड लॉज वाली होगी, because it is coming going. बार बार मुझे वापस स्क्रीन में जाना पड़ता है. I'm trying to share a screen. It is, I'm not sure if you're getting the screen. It is not showing you. Other allied acts के नाम से होगा अगर आपके पास है तो.
मेरे को तो टीपीए के नाम से है, ट्रांसफर ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी एक्ट के नाम से ही है.
हाँ टीपी वो टीपी के नाम से होगी.
हाँ लेकिन उसमें एमसीक्यूज हैं.
सेकंड 2-3 एमसीक्यूज होंगे, उसके बाद टेक्स्ट है पूरा.
हाँ फिर टेक्स्ट है, ठीक है.
हाँ तो वो अगर वो किसी को दे सकते हैं जो चला सकते हैं उनको दे दीजिए. Because I'm trying to run, it is not moving here.
हमारा आपकी मेल पे भेजूं मैं?
हाँ प्लीज भेज दीजिए.
हमारा डॉट
amar.eds@gmail.com.
amar.eds@gmail.com.
Yeah, I get some issue. Everything, nothing is responding now.
पर अब मैंने आपको भेज दिए.
ठीक है, आई नहीं अभी.
हाँ पहला क्वेश्चन भी यही है, वैलिड वॉइड वाला ही था. ठीक है, मेरी वो ऑल इंडिया वाली से आएगी.
हाँ ठीक है, आप स्क्रीन शेयर का ऑप्शन दे दो मुझे.
सबको है ऑल पैनलिस्ट.
ओके.
मैंने कहा इसमें मैंने इसलिए अलाउड इसीलिए कर दिया था, मैंने कहा 10 पार्टिसिपेंट्स आपस में.
सुमित जी आप स्क्रीन शेयर करना बंद कर दीजिए.
सर मेरा वो बंद ही नहीं हो रहा. मेरा बंद नहीं हो रहा. प्रॉब्लम
ये ऑप्शन भी मैंने सबको दे रखा है कि अगर किसी ने स्क्रीन शेयर कर रखी है तो. हाँ
हाँ अच्छा ऐसा हो सकता है कि मेरी हैंग हो रही है स्क्रीन, मेरी बंद भी नहीं हो रही. मतलब आई एम ट्राइंग टू क्लोज.
कोई दिक्कत नहीं, वो मेरा ऑप्शन भी होस्ट के अलावा सबको दे रखा है ऑप्शन भी.
ठीक है, अब आ गया सर, अब आ गया. अब आई थिंक मेरा एंड हो गया. अब अमरदीप जी का आ गया.
हाँ
पावर पॉइंट मोड पे चला लीजिए.
F5 कर दो.
इनेबल एडिटिंग करेंगे फिर.
ये दिख रही है स्क्रीन?
सर अनेबल एडिटिंग कर दीजिए एक बार.
F5 कर दो.
F5 कर चुका हूं, मेरे में आ रहा है.
इनेबल एडिटिंग करेंगे तो
ऊपर ओके पॉप आ रहा है ना.
हाँ हाँ ये
अब F5 कर दीजिए बस.
अब ठीक है.
यस ठीक है सर. बस
मुझे तो पता भी नहीं 5 का मतलब क्या होता है. मेरा एक दोस्त हमेशा कहता है 5 कर दो, 5 कर दो. सर
नहीं आ गए, जहाँ पहुंचना था वहाँ पहुंच गए. चलिए, आफ्टर ऑल हिकअप्स, नाउ व्हाटएवर वी अंडरस्टैंड बाय मॉर्गेज, if you can read this question and answer. In an exam, you'll get as simple question as it can be.
Under the mortgage
But you
without
need to think.
delivering possession of property that is all.
Rest other person can also. We need to answer quickly because we are already lost a lot of time and we need to cover so many things today. Okay. Now understand what is the concept of mortgage. In mortgage, you actually You give a possession or a property or commitment. In this case, what is happening? The borrower is just giving a personal undertaking. Neither he is giving the possession of the property, nor is giving the papers. It is just a simple mortgage. Vardeep ji, next slide, please. So previous answer was simple mortgage. I will explain all the concepts shortly. What will be the position of finder of lost goods? I'm sure now we all are clear on this. It has to be Bailey only. You cannot become a true owner. Next slide, sir. Quickly answer this one. So in exam, if you are reading this question in hurry, and instead of reading the word movable property, you have read the word as immovable property by mistake, then it will go for a wrong answer. If you are reading the word immovable correctly, then your answer has to be C, either by registered instrument or by delivery. If you're reading it as a movable property. If the question is for immovable, then it has to be registered instrument. Next slide, sir. Now, this slide will try to capture the major concepts of Transfer of Property Act, which all comes in exam. So quickly answer first question. It applies to Transfer of Property Act applies to immovable property, or it applies to immovable and movable. You can use chat option or mic option, whatever you prefer.
So it applies to both.
What about others?
Applies to both.
So few people are saying it is only immovable. Some people are saying it is applies to both. And in exams, such a simple yet tricky question comes. Had it been only applicable to immovable property, then ideally they would have put the name Transfer of Immovable Properties Act. But since the name is Transfer of Properties Act, and property means movable and immovable both, so this act is applicable to immovable properties and movable properties both. Else also, the question which we checked last question immediately on the gift of movable property. So that is a part of this act itself. So it applies to both. Now, transfer of property can be done to living persons. So can a property be transferred to company, association of person, land build, artificial persons like land, partnership firm, entity? Can we transfer property? Because
Yes.
the law of transfer property says property can be only transferred to living being. That's the law says. So we can transfer that. And why we can transfer that? Because in the law itself they have written that the company, association of person will be considered as a living person for this act purpose. So for transfer of property act, company is still a living person. That is one. Now, can we transfer property to unborn child as per transfer of property act? Yes, no, maybe.
No.
So we do so.
And
By
when I say unborn child, it means child's in the mother's womb, not in the thoughts.
we can say we can do so by way of will and some other.
No.
Okay. According to you, a child in a mother's womb is a living being or a non-living being?
Living.
Neither a living being nor a non-living being. It is not existing. A child exists only after its birth.
Supreme Court has a different view on this. Supreme Court says a child in a mother's womb is a living being, even if it has not come to the earth, but still it is a living being. So the law in 1882, when this law was framed, that time itself, they have made very categorical that a property can be transferred to unborn child, though it will not be transferred directly. It will be transferred through beneficiary trust, and just as it used to happen in a lot of HUF big business families, the son child would not have been born, but the grandson will get a right of property. They makes an arrangement like that. So law allows that a property can. So in exam, the question comes, a property can be transferred to unborn child, but through trust or guardianship. Directly, you cannot do that. Now, standing timber tree is immovable or movable.
Immovable.
In exam, such a simple question comes. Such a simple question: standing timber tree is a movable property or immovable property?
Immovable property.
What about others? Others have any view?
Immovable.
Just a second. मैं देखना चाह रहा हूँ ऐसा कोई है जो बोलेगा ये मूवेबल है, मैं वो देखना चाह रहा हूँ कौन मूवेबल बोलना चाह रहा है. So we have only one who has said movable, rest 4 or 5 as immovable. We have Praveen Gargji also movable. Praveen ji, why you are saying it is movable despite it is still not cut? What is your logic?
Sir, can be cut it ना?
नहीं सर, कैन भी तो करने को तो हम कुछ भी कर सकते हैं. करने को हम ताजमहल भी उठा के आ सकते हैं. करने को तो आप कुछ भी कर सकते हैं.
उसका जो अल्टीमेट यूज है वो कट होने के बाद ही होगा ना. उसकी कोई जो स्टैंडिंग ट्री है उसका जो यूज होगा, जो उसका अल्टीमेट यूज होगा वो कटिंग के बाद ही होगा. ताजमहल का तो कटिंग करने के बाद खत्म हो जाएगा, डिस्ट्रॉय हो जाएगा ताजमहल, बट वो ट्री कट नहीं होगा. ट्री कट जब होगा जब भी उसका यूज होगा. दिस इज माय लॉजिक.
हाँ ठीक है.
I might be wrong, but this is my
नहीं मैंने तो अभी कुछ बोला ही नहीं किसी के लिए कि who is right, who is wrong. I have not even discussed that. अभी हम just fundamentals concepts पे आ रहे हैं. What will be your answer if I ask a question, and anybody else answer? If I ask a question, standing mango tree, movable, immovable?
Movable.
Immovable.
The same answer. It's a immovable.
Okay. Now just note fine difference when this question came in exam and how and these kind of questions will decide we will pass or fail, because this question will be, we think very confident that I know I'm right, but it may happen otherwise. So understand the basic concept first. How does okay, when do you want a break for lunch? Do let me know. When is your comfort time, when you are committed, so I will plan the session speed accordingly.
2 p.m.
Sorry, I could not get your
2 बजे का ठीक रहेगा मेरे ख्याल से.
Right.
जैसे भी सबको ठीक है.
So 2 is fine, sir.
2 is fine with everyone. ठीक है.
Not everyone. It is for me. Rest of the people you can ask. Because
वो डिपेंड करता है बाकी बनाना किसको है, डिपेंड करता है बनाना किसको है. हमें नहीं बनाना तो कुछ भी चलेगा.
तभी एक घंटे का लंच इसलिए ले जा रहा है कि मैं बनाना और खाना दोनों आ जाता है एक्चुअली ना.
So 1:30, I think majority people prefer 1:30, so we'll take 1:30 accordingly. Okay. Now, what is the definition of immovable property? So if you see the definition of immovable property in Transfer of Property Act, they defined in a very interesting way, and they define in a negative way. So the definition is, immovable property does not include standing timber tree, growing crops and grass. So instead of defining what it includes, the law is defined in a very negative way. They say immovable property excludes property which is standing timber tree, growing crops and grass. So that is excluded. So now why standing timber tree is considered movable and why trees are considered movable, especially this tree? So this went into Supreme Court in 1962, this decision, because somebody sold a farm, and when he sold the farm, when he sold the farm to the seller, the buyer started cutting some trees, and and the buyer and the seller and the buyer objected. The buyer says, why can you cut the trees? I've already bought the farm. So he says, no, I only sell livable property as per agreement. So this raised to a dispute, and it went ultimately up to went into Supreme Court. There's a case law somewhere called Ram Singh versus Dhartidan, some kind of case law in 1962. So what was the final crux of the judgment? Crux of the judgment was, and as I think it was Praveenji or Amarji, I'm not sure who gave the answer, and the logic which court relied ultimately, why standing timber tree is considered movable even though it is fixed on the earth now, you have not even cut it, still it is considered movable property, because they say the very essence of timber tree is you want to cut the tree, you want to cut the woods. Wood can be only achieved by cutting the tree. So the purpose of standing timber tree will be only achieved when you cut the tree, and then only the benefit will be achieved to people. So non-fruit bearing trees are considered generally as a movable trees, movable property. Whereas if we talk of mango tree or an apple tree or any fruit bearing tree, we cannot say they are movable trees, because the objective of planting mango tree or other trees is not to cut the wood. The objective is to derive the fruits out of it and continue it. So if I cut the mango tree, it will lose its essence. The purpose will be defeated. But if I cut the timber tree, that's what the essence I'm looking for. So fruit bearing trees are considered a movable tree, and non-fruit bearing trees are considered movable tree. Now, and similarly, like bamboo trees, growing crops, sugar canes, they are all considered movable property. What cannot be transferred? So common sense is, what is not yours cannot be transferred. But there are certain things which are yours, and you have a right, but it cannot be transferred. Can you give some examples? What are those things on which you have a right, but still you cannot be transferred? Anything you think?
Right to live.
Right to live. वो ट्रांसफर थोड़ा ना करें हम, वो तो हम ले रहे हैं. If you are talking in context of right to live, I am probably missing. मैं ट्रांसफर कैसे कर सकता हूँ किसी को? ये तो राइट खत्म कर सकते हैं, एक्सटिंग्विश कर सकते हैं, ट्रांसफर तो नहीं कर सकते हैं. अभी वो टेक्नोलॉजी आई नहीं ना.
Sorry,
tenancy agreement.
Right to enjoy, sir. That
Right to enjoy.
If we are enjoying something, then we can
Correct.
transfer this thing to some other person.
You can or you cannot?
We can. So, like
You can.
I having a car, I'm enjoying that car, I can transfer that right to somebody else. So this is something
Okay.
like I'm enjoying.
Oh, okay. So one is tenancy agreement, fine. Anybody who has worked in corporate sector, mainly in MNC companies, generally in the past, MNC companies. So MNC companies would have given you, those who would have worked in MNC companies or big companies, generally they will give you an allowance called gym membership allowance. So they will offer you a gym membership. You go and take gym membership of any health club and all. And अगर I am not sure, Jatin, you can recall or not, जब भी हम corporate clubs में रहते थे, so you will give a 12 months membership. Company will say, आप जाके 12 months का membership लाइए, हमें bill दीजिए, we will reimburse the bill, but you need to take a membership. So we will take a membership of 12 months, और हम सिर्फ एक महीने जाते हैं. शुरू के जोश हाई रहता है, फिर उसके बाद 11 महीने हम नहीं जाते हैं, क्योंकि अपनी जेब से पैसा नहीं लगा हुआ, कंपनी ने स्पॉन्सर करा है. Now if I am not going for next 11 months, though I have a right to go, right? I have a gym membership, I can go. Can I send my brother to go and enjoy the gym membership? Yes, no, maybe. I'm talking theoretically. Practically, you may argue. Practically, we cannot. Theoretically, also we cannot give, right? So, though I have a right, और आप ये argument तो नहीं दे सकते ना उसको जिम वाले को, एक जना तो आता ही, मेरी जगह तो रहती, अब मैं नहीं आ रहा तो खाली जगह है, तो मेरी जगह मेरे भाई को भेज दो. वो argument तो हमारा नहीं चल सकता, क्यों? Because even if you are not going, because the right was only yours. So similarly, you cannot transfer those things, those benefits, which are given particularly to you only and not for others. For example, club membership. If you have taken a Club Mahindra membership, I cannot transfer on my own. Though I can do with a confirmation with the Club Mahindra, take an agreement with them, I can do that. but voluntarily I cannot do myself कि मैं तो नहीं जा रहा 15 साल की membership चिपका दी उसने मुझे अब 10 साल आप कोई ले लो. I can do transfer by in agreement with the transferer, in agreement with the Club Mahindra company or any company. Can I transfer my stipend, my gratuity, my pension to somebody else? Can I say, so I worked in government for 30 years and my government says now you are having
No.
a pension. I can donate, I can do whatever I want, but I cannot ask government to transfer. So any personal benefit, any service, any stipend cannot be transferred. Right to sue. If I need to put a case against somebody, I cannot transfer this right only. So I need to either transfer entire property to him to make a right to sue. Just I cannot say you go and sue on my behalf. That right I cannot give. I cannot transfer my position. Let's say I was a Supreme Court judge for 30 years. When I'm retiring, I cannot say I worked for this company for 30 years. Now let my son take over my position. Government offices, public offices cannot be transferred even though you have spent considerable period of time. In politics, you can always do that, but in government offices and all, you cannot do that. So an exam question comes, what does the law says? Law says any property can be transferred except following. So you cannot transfer your right to become king. For example, so comes a point, dominant inheritance right. That means, suppose a king has two sons, elder brother and younger brother. Ideally, elder brother becomes the king. That is the culture. So elder brother cannot sell this right to younger brother on his own, and he cannot go and say that I have a right to become king. Now, if you give me X amount of money, you can take this right. This sell right cannot be done by elder brother. It is only in the hand of the ruling king to decide whether he want to make elder or anybody else. So we'll read that section also. What do you understand by lis pendis word? If anybody have any clue, or what do you understand by the term lis pendis?
So this pending means there are any dispute which is pending between two persons.
So the legal terminology is it's a pending litigation. So if there is any pending litigation on the ownership of the property, ideally it should not be transferred. So if there is a pending litigation on the title of the property, ideally it should not be transferred. That's a loss. But then it puts an exception. The exception is, suppose there are two people, A and B. A and B both are having a dispute who is the ownership, though it is in the name of A, but B is also claiming its ownership. So B are having a dispute. C comes to buy the property and B tells to C that there is already a dispute. I have also put a claim against under the court. And A tells to C that this claim is bogus claim. I am 100% sure this is my property. I am willing to sell you this property now. So though the law says whenever there is a dispute, it should not be transferred. But if the proposed buyer is willing to take the risk that tomorrow, if the judgment comes in favor of B, I will not make any nuisance. In that case, the property will be allowed to be registered. Because the law says if there is already a dispute going on and somebody is willing to take the dispute, then he should accept whatever the judgment the court will pass on. Now comes the concept of mortgages. How many types of mortgages we have? And we are all talking only as per Transfer of Property Act. We are not talking about other mortgages which bankers and which sales of banking sales team uses. And why, Sanjay ji, are 4 mortgages? Because in the mortgage question, I have given you 4 options. That's why it is 4 mortgages.
No, it's simple mortgage, English mortgage, then anomalous mortgage, and there is another equitable mortgage. These are 4 mortgages.
So in my question, I have given you one more mortgage, usufructory mortgage.
Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah.
Then there are 2 more mortgages. Then there are 2 more mortgages. Mortgage by conditional sale and mortgage by deposit of title deeds.
Right.
So if we go as per the Transfer of Property Act, there are 6 mortgages. first mortgage, and in exam they ask a very simple questions. They will give you a condition and say which mortgage is this. So first mortgage is simple mortgage. So simple mortgage means, okay, first of all we understand, I assume we all understand what is mortgage. So tell me, the person who gives a property is known as mortgager or mortgagee? The person who has taken a loan is giving a property to a bank. He's a mortgager or mortgagee?
Mortgagee.
Mortgager.
Mortgages, sir.
So in exam, such a simple question comes also. So he is a mortgager, and the bank will be mortgagee. Okay, so whoever is taking the property, simple concept is, जिसने भी जो भी लेता है, जिसने ली वो ई हो जाता है. In case of lesser lessee, whoever has taken a property on rent becomes lessee. Transferor, transferee. The company which takes another company is transferee, and others जो करता है, the one who is doing action will always err. So mortgager, the person who is giving property is mortgager. So generally in India and generally globally, to take a loan, the lender will always say, give me some surety. So to give a surety, somebody commits. You either give existing property, you either give property which is getting in developed. It depends on terms and conditions. So the first mortgage is the most simplest mortgage, that is simple mortgage, where the borrower commits to the lender that right now I'm not giving you anything, but I give you a commitment that if I default, I will sell my this property to you. So that's the commitment lender got received from borrower. It is simple because there is no actual transfer of possession, no actual transfer of papers. So it is very simple mortgage. Second mortgage is mortgage by conditional sale. So conditional sale mortgage means the lender, when he gives a loan to the borrower gives a commitment and does an agreement with the lender that if I default on paying the loan, it will be assumed that I have sold this property to you. So they make a sales agreement which is dependent on a condition that if there is a default happens, it will be automatically assumed as a sale on the day of default. And if I deposit the full loan amount, I completes the loan as per tenure. In that case, this agreement becomes null and void, because if you have already paid everything, it becomes null and void. So that becomes the mortgage by conditional sale. Third is mortgage by deposit of title deeds, or also known as equitable mortgage, pan India, where the lender takes a property papers from you, where the borrower will submit the house paper or whatever property papers to the bank with a condition that till the time I'm taking a loan from you, the property papers are with you. I will not be selling it. But the moment my loan gets over, you will return this property papers to me. So here the lender feels little bit secured, as he is having the title ownership papers. So he thinks now it cannot be went away from me. Fifth mortgage is this. How many mortgages you have discussed till now? Three mortgages. Okay. Three. Fourth mortgage is usufructuary mortgage. What does usufructuary mortgage means? It means whenever a borrower takes any loan, he gives the property possession to the lender and also gives him the right to use the benefits of the property along with the loan process. For example, a person has taken a loan from a bank, SBI. He will say to the bank, now I am opening a hotel from the loan which you have given me. So the hotel property will be mortgaged to you. And during the course also, you have a right to receive the revenue I'm generating from hotel. So bank may fix a percentage, depends on each terms and conditions. Bank will say, whatever you are getting from your restaurant income, give me 30% to my account. Whatever you are getting from your hotel room rental incomes, you give 70% to my account. So in this process, the lender also enjoys the benefit of the property along with the loan period and along with the custody of the property. Fifth mortgage is called English mortgage. What do you mean by English mortgage? The mortgage which is written in English language. Or no? Or there's another logic for this? Or it is a nonsense logic I have given?
No, sir.
So it's a
no.
nonsense logic.
This is not.
What is the logic then? What do we mean by English mortgage then? And we have no other local mortgage. We don't have Hindi mortgage. We don't have Kannada mortgage. We don't have Punjabi mortgage. We have only English mortgage in our rules. What do you mean by English mortgage? Any thought process? Have you heard of this concept anywhere?
So we heard it, but I'm not sure I'm right or wrong. But I believe so. In English mortgage, the title right has been given to the mortgagee. The original agreement have been submitted with them, and they have also right to sale in case of default.
So English mortgage is one of the most toughest mortgage in India. Lenders love this kind of mortgage. Borrowers hate this kind of mortgage. It happens in India, but not very frequent. Generally in Mumbai, you will find transactions of English mortgage. What happens in English mortgage? From the day one, as Pandeyji has rightly mentioned, from the day one, the borrower transfers the ownership in literal sense to the lender. So it actually sales happen on the day one. So suppose I am a borrower, I am having one property with me. I will make an agreement and I will actually sell the property to the lender on day one with a condition that once I repay the loan after agreed period of years, you will again give this property back to me at this particular price. So this agreement always happens. So in English mortgage, what is the beauty? The lender is risk free from the day one, because in all other mortgages, lender need to go to the court to take the ownership and take the custody and control. But in English mortgage, from the day one, the title is transferred to the lender. So lender need not go anywhere or nor ask, can I sell? Because he already had the selling rights. So lender is always in advantages. Any idea why it is not preferred much in India? Anything, just your thoughts process. What are the reasons it is not preferred much in India? कोई reasons होंगे इसके? अगर बदमाश borrower है, बदमाश borrower को तो कभी अच्छा नहीं लगेगा. If the borrower is crooked, he will never like it. But even if it is a genuine borrower, he will also not prefer it. Any particular reasons you think? Think and you will get an answer for sure. आपके syllabus से आंसर निकलेगा.
Stamp duty and all.
Absolutely. The most important is हमारे इंडिया में stamp duty बहुत ज़्यादा है, 7% approximately. So इस transaction में कितनी stamp duty लगेगी हमारी?
14%.
14%. आज जब मैं बेच रहा हूँ तब लगेगी, और आज से 5-10 साल बाद जब मैं वापस खरीद रहा हूँ तब लगेगी. So it actually becomes a complicated scenario. और ये ड्यूटी कौन बेयर करेगा, लेंडर या borrower?
borrower.
The
It will be
borrower.
always borrower will bear in this kind of cases. One is stamp duty. Second, हमारे यहाँ पे एक इनकम टैक्स भी इंडिया में, कैपिटल गेन कौन बेयर करेगा?
Right.
There will be a capital gain. So it will become a capital gain issue both the times. Now what happens and why, if we understand that these are certain issues, then why still some transactions happen in India? और मैंने बोला भी इंडिया में होता है. तो इतना सब अगर आपको समझ में आ रहा है कि प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, तो फिर होता है तो क्यों होता है फिर इंडिया में? क्या कारण से होता होगा अगर होता है तो? Then why somebody would like to do?
Sir, repayment risks are very high. That lender knows that there is a possibility that non-payment of the
नहीं शैलेंद्र जी, मैं पूछ रहा हूँ दूसरी चीज पूछ रहा हूँ. मैं कह रहा हूँ हमें पता है प्रॉब्लम्स हैं इसमें, हमें पता है ड्यूटी भी ज्यादा लगती है, उसके बाद भी borrower क्यों एग्री करता है इंडिया में? लेंडर वाइज तो करेगा, उसके बाद भी what are the points which borrower says okay let me go and take this English mortgage, let me get this English mortgage done? क्या इंसेंटिव होता है borrower के लिए?
अगर
Any
बोरोवर
thought?
बोरोवर की अगर
हाँ,
क्रेडिबिलिटी खराब है, उसको कहीं और से कुछ मिल नहीं रहा है, तो वो उसके पास ऑप्शन नहीं है और वो करेगा ऐसा।
ओके। इसमें जो सबसे बड़ा कंसर्न, सबसे बड़ा पॉइंट होता है, बाकी सारी मॉर्गेजेस में और इस मॉर्गेज में रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट हैज अ सी चेंज। नॉर्मल मॉर्गेजेस में आपका 9 to let's say 15 18 whatever rate of interest you take. In this kind of mortgages, rate of interest goes between 2% to 6%. That's the rate, and that is the only reason people take this mortgage. Because what happens, why 2 to 6% is the rate they offer for this loan term? Because they also understand 14% cost is a bigger cost, which you are already, the borrower is bearing. Capital gain impact is also borrower is bearing. Now, why 2 to 6%? For us, it looks very cheap. That why somebody will give it a 2 to 6%, where the FD is giving you more than almost 6% returns. Lot of Europe and UK funds, and I'm sure you are aware in UK and Europe, and I'm sure in Middle East. In Middle East, if you put money in a fixed deposit in banks, you will get 0.5% return per annum. Especially for Middle East, because वहाँ पे interest is haram. So in interest you don't get money. So 0.05 is 0.5% is as nothing is good. Similarly, if you go to UK and Ireland and other parts of Europe, they have a negative rate of growth. So people, money is, instead of inflation, they have a deflation. So they are trying to put money outside India. तो अगर मुझे मेरी कंट्री में 1% पे मिलता है interest rate, that money I am making. So if somebody gives me 5% outside any country, I will be more than happy to do that. So there are a lot of funds, real estate funds, which is floating from abroad. They are parked in Mumbai, and a lot of real estate people would be willing to take something at 6% to 8%. For them, this rate looks reasonable. So that's why a lot of people do English mortgage. Though I have not seen in Jaipur any of the builder would love to do that, because a lot of consultants came from Mumbai to Jaipur, to big businessmen in real estate in Jaipur, to give huge amount, not less than 1,000 crore funding at a cheap price of 6%. But when they see the conditions of sale, stamp and income tax, they all went back. Nobody liked that.
सुमित सर,
Sir,
एक स्मॉल क्वेरी है इसके रिगार्डिंग। इसमें जो बोरोवर जो लास्ट में मतलब रीपरचेज करता है, तो उसका प्राइस ऑलरेडी प्री डिटरमिन्ड होता है
पहले
और
से तय
एज
था।
पर ओके
प्री डिटरमाइंड, इट इज ऑलवेज प्री डिटरमाइंड। एग्रीमेंट में जब एग्रीमेंट बनता है उसी टाइम प्री डिटरमाइंड होता है कि दिस वुड बी द प्राइस इररिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ द सर्कमस्टेंसेस दैट डे। तो वो फिक्स फ्रीज करते हैं, तभी जाके इंटरेस्ट का और आईआरआर का कंप्यूटेशन निकलता है।
दिस इज लाइक समथिंग फ्यूचर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स।
क्या इट इज फ्यूचर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, इट्स फिक्स्ड, प्री फिक्स्ड। अदरवाइज क्या होगा, और इसमें मैंडेटरी, व्हाट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट मैंडेटरी, इट इज मैंडेटरी टू लेंडर टू सेल इट बैक ऑल्सो। ऐसा नहीं हो सकता मैंने आपको आज लोन दिया, आपने प्रॉपर्टी दे दी, अब मेरा दिल आ गया इस प्रॉपर्टी पे, ये सी फेसिंग बंगलो है, मैं तो दूंगा ही नहीं आपको। नो, यू कैन नॉट डू दैट। once I made an agreement, it is a reverse 100% back to back agreement, that once I repay the loan, you need to fully give it back without any questions, and the price, everything is decided at that time. Fine.
So just to ask one thing, like normally the reverse mortgages are done. These are of the similar nature when I look at this.
These are of the similar nature. These are of the similar nature. But in transfer of property, they have not used the word reverse mortgage. In transfer of property, they use English mortgage. Bankers use the word reverse mortgage generally to make for senior citizens when they are trying to give loans for their property. That's what the concept they use. Correct. Now comes the last mortgage. What is the last mortgage? 6th number mortgage is what? This will recall how quickly you recall, because somebody mentioned this kind of mortgage earlier. I think Sanjay ji mentioned, or one of the participants mentioned the name of mortgages. What is the last mortgage? Anybody need to think and let me know? So we were discussing 6 mortgages, 5 we discussed. Which one is the last mortgage? Last mortgage is called as anomalous mortgage. What does anomalous mortgage means? Anomalous mortgage means any of the mortgage, if you do any mortgage which directly does not fit into first to 5 mortgages. So any of the 5 mortgage we discuss, it is not directly fitting, or it is a combination of 1 or 2 mortgages, then it is called an anomalous mortgage. For example, I may do a conditional sale mortgage and I may do a usufructuary mortgage together. So it will be like an anomalous mortgage. So if any mortgage which contains more than one element of different mortgages, it will be an anomalous mortgage. Now comes the basic concept of lease. So lease we understand. Lessor is the one who owns the property and he gives the right to use the property to lessee. The basic understanding is whenever the lessor gives a property, ideally the lessee should be able to enjoy the rights and privileges of the property. So if you have taken a property and it is a, let's say the property is in a gated community and there is a gym facility for the building, so ideally the lessee will also have the right to use the facility because he is staying in that property ideally. And what is expected from lessee, that whenever he is leaving the property, he should leave in a same position as much he has received at the time of taking lease. But that does not mean कि हमें गंदा घर मिला था लेते टाइम, जाते टाइम हम भी कचरा करके जाएंगे. घर तो हम साफ रखते हैं, बट जैसा आपने बोला था लीज जैसा मिला था वैसे ही देना है, तो हम भी घर गंदा करके जाएंगे, वो तो हम करेंगे नहीं. But the objective is whenever you're leaving the property, you should give in a clean position as you receive. Now, suppose I have planted, I am a lessee, I have taken a property and I have planted some trees in the property. Though I have not taken a permission, I missed to take permission. So I have planted flower pots also. मैंने पौधे भी लगाए, गमले भी लगाए और 1-2 पेड़ भी लगा दिए. मैंने बरगद का पेड़ लगा दिया. और 5 years has passed. The tree has become very huge, very big. Now I need to vacate the property today. Can I take all my flower pots, plants, and can I take the tree out? Can I cut the tree and take it out from the property? Yes, no, maybe. What do you think? What the law would think, or what law would have said? So law says, law will not say directly take it or do not take it out. Law does not give clear answers. Law give principles. So law give one principle. One principle law has, and अब तो मैं अमरदीप जी को ये भी नहीं कह सकता get an idea sir जी, वो तो वोडाफोन में बिक गया. But what does law says? Law says one thing. First of all, you think SSC, that the lessee has a right, to take things out, which is not lessors, which is understandable. But then law says after that, if lessee is trying to take anything out and if it damages the structural foundation of the property, then lessor can object. Suppose example of bamboo tree and example of banyan tree. In cutting the bamboo tree or timber tree, it will not structurally damage the property because the tree is supposed to be cut. It is not much grown under the earth. But in case of banyan tree, the roots would have gone much below the earth of the property. And if I extract that full tree, it might damage my foundation of the property. So if the lessor can prove that by taking this thing out, it will have a structural damage to my property, then lessor can always object and lessee cannot take it out. So court, it will be again proven in court whether by taking this out it will damage or not. But that's the principle somebody need to take care. What happens in case you're taking it out? So because law will not say do not take it or do not take out. That's law will not say. They've given a principle. What is expected from lessee? Every time you pay rent, whatever the due date, when the time gets over of a lease, you need to get it vacant. And the expectation of lessor would be you need to, if you are, and the expectation of lessor is Suppose A is a lessor and B is lessee. A is regularly receiving money from B. B is paying on time every month to lessor A. A has sold the property to C, and B is not aware that property has been sold to C. B is regularly depositing rent to A's bank account. So B is not aware. Last 6 months he has deposited rent into A's account. C issued a notice of tenants vacancy that you have not paid me rent from last 6 months. So as per agreement, you have to vacate the flat. Is B liable to vacate the flat or B not liable to vacate the flat as per the Transfer of Property Act? Should B vacate or no issue? So at times law goes on common sense. Since B was not informed by A that there has been a change in ownership, and intent of B was regularly depositing to A's account. Had B would not have deposited to A account thinking that I know there has been a change in ownership, why should I deposit to A? Until C has not come and asked me, I am not supposed to give. In that case, B would have been asked to vacate. Here B was regularly depositing to A's account and he was not aware of the change, so there will be no responsibility on B. So court of law will not approve C's or A's contention. Now comes the last point, which is major and very simple fundamental question comes. Gift. Gift, I'm sure we all are aware, either we give gifts or we receive gifts. Some of the other part we are always party. What are the two parties in gifts? One is donor and another one is donee. So the person who receiving gifts is donee and donor is who is the giver. Is it mandatory for the donee to accept the gift, or one-sided can be considered as a gift? So let's say I like a girl, I want to give her a gold ring. Is it mandatory for her to accept? Then it will be considered gift, or one-sided gift is also considered as a gift? Yes, no, maybe. It is preferred or it is mandatory?
So is it mandatory?
Acceptance is preferred or mandatory?
Mandatory.
Madhiji is saying not mandatory. Anjuji is saying it is acceptance is required. So law says if the donor has given a gift and donee is not accepted, then it will not be considered as a gift. Acceptance is must. Now, donor has given a gift to donee and donee died before accepting the gift. Can the legal heir of the donee claim the gift from the donor? In exam, such a fundamental, basic, simple question comes. So answer is no, they cannot, for the simple reason the gift has not even completed, because the donee died before accepting the gifts. Gifts are always free, or they are generally free,
Sumit sir.
or gifts have some consideration.
Sumit sir.
Yes, sir.
मेरा एक डाउट है whether any other person can accept gift on behalf of other person, like example, parents can take gift on behalf of their children on their birthday, whether it is accepted under the law or not, because generally
माइनर के केस में एक्सेप्टेड है, माइनर के केस में एक्सेप्टेड है, गार्जियन है.
okay.
माइनर केस, एडल्ट के केस में नहीं है. So gifts are always free in terms of consideration. तभी तो gift है वो. Otherwise it would be in a barter. So gifts are always free. The hidden consideration of the gift is love and affection. So you love someone, you have affection towards someone, you give him a gift. So both of the sides there is a love and affection generally. Now I have given a gift to my girlfriend, gold chain, because I had a love and affection with her. After 1 month, the love and affection died, and I found a love and affection in new girl. Can I go back to my old girlfriend and ask for the return gift? That now my love and affection has died, give my gift back. Can I take it? Yes, no, maybe. Why I cannot take it? अभी सर आगे मत जाइए, अभी तो पीछे चलिए अमरदीप जी, अभी तो खत्म ही नहीं हुआ अभी तो. Why I cannot take a gift? Why law says I cannot go? ठीक है, morally मुझे नहीं जाना चाहिए, बराबर है, morally I should not go. But legally why I cannot go and take a gift? What makes sense? You cannot take a gift. Because gifts are always irrevocable. They are always irrevocable. You cannot have a conditional gift. जब तक प्यार रहेगा तब तक गिफ्ट, वरना बाद में मुझे दे देना. That is not a gift then that is a pledge and bailor-bailey relationship. So gifts are always irrevocable. You can never take them back. To give a immovable property gift, if somebody wants to give a immovable property gift, if you do not get it registered, it will not be considered as a gift. अगर मैंने किसी को, सपोज मुझे फ्लैट देना है किसी को, मेरी सिस्टर को या मेरे सन को या मेरे किसी को भी फ्लैट गिफ्ट करना है, इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी गिफ्ट करनी है, आई कैन नॉट give just by writing in a plain paper. I need to get it registered. A immovable property will be only considered as a completed gift when you get it registered with the authorities. So जो भी आपका registrar of land होता है, वहाँ पे जाके आपको फोटो खिंचवा के आपको ड्यूटी ट्रांसफर करनी पड़ती है. Movable properties can be gifted by any registered instrument or by simple delivery. Suppose if somebody wants to give an iPhone to you, there is no necessity that he should give you a bill or writing in a agreement. Just a plain hand delivery would be just like as a gift that can be done. Now my uncle has given me a portfolio of gifts on my birthday. That portfolio contains two shares. Now we are coming to the concept of onerous gift. So my uncle has given me a portfolio on my birthday, and it has two shares. One share of Infosys, fully paid up. Second share of Jet Airways Limited, partly paid up, and 9 rupees call is due, and the call will come in next month. Do I have a right to choose only Infosys, or I need to either mandatorily choose both the shares or reject both the shares? So in a nutshell, can I do a cherry picking from a gift given to me, or I need to accept both or reject both? What is your views? Can I say नहीं मैं तो सिर्फ Infosys का ही रखूंगा, or I can say yes, I can choose only Infosys because that's what's suiting me? So, and what do you mean by onerous gift then? What is the meaning of onerous, or what do you understand onerous? So onerous gifts are those gifts where you get burdened from taking the gifts. Normally gifts are supposed to make you in a positive side, but by accepting those gifts, you are getting a burden more than the value of the gift. So where it is causing a liability on you, additional, where inflow, more than inflow, outflow will happen. So the law says choose and pick is possible since acceptance is required. Okay. Law says in case of onerous gift, wherever you are getting a bundle of shares or bundle of gifts in one installment and one tranche, when he's giving me gift on one occasion, then I cannot do a cherry picking. Then I need to either accept both or reject both. But if I'm doing on a different instances, let's say on my birthday he's giving me only Infosys, I can accept or reject. Any fool will be rejecting. Everybody will accept Infosys shares on your birthday. But if on my marriage anniversary is gifting me only Jet Airways shares, then it is my choice to accept or reject. But if it is a bundled gift, I am accepting. If it is coming in a bundle, I need to accept both the gifts or reject both the gifts. That's a law has made the provision. So now it's 1:33. Can we take a break and come back at what time you want to come back quickly? What time should we come back? 2:35. नहीं 2:30 में ज़्यादा हो जाएगा सर, अपने को टेस्ट भी देना है. Let's try to come back at 2:25. 2:25 should be a reasonable number, so that we can do something. चलो आपकी ना मेरी 2:30. We'll come back at 2:30.